Itachi and Jiraiya seem to have similar roles to the show's protagonists, Naruto and Sasuke. Their deaths become one of the most important turning points for these characters, and their similar roles as the Hidden Leaf's informants often make people wonder if there was more to these characters than it seemed at first glance. The very first and only time these two characters confronted each other was in Naruto chapter 146. After Sasuke attacks Itachi with Chidori, Itachi easily deflects it. Naruto begins gathering chakra so that he can help Sasuke when it is absorbed by Kisame. As Kisame moves to incapacitate him, Jiraiya appears and stops the attack. Jiraiya tries to make a grand entrance, but Naruto quickly reminds him that he has gone because he was hitting on a woman. Since the woman was under the influence of a genjutsu, Jiraiya knows that Itachi and Kisame were trying to separate him from Naruto, thereby confirming that the Akatsuki really are after the Nine Tails. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Itachi realizes that Jiraiya was the one who informed Kakashi about the Akatsuki. Jiraiya prepares to fight them, but Sasuke instructs him to leave them to him. Uninterested in their squabble, Itachi tortures Sasuke. Naruto tries to help him, and Kisame pursues Naruto, prompting Jiraiya to coat the area in a toad's stomach. Jiraiya tries to capture him and Kisame, but they flee, managing to escape from his summoning toad mouth bind with Amaterasu. Jiraiya takes a sample of the flames for future study, and Naruto checks on Sasuke. While they are preoccupied, Guy appears and attacks Jiraiya, having thought he was Itachi or Kisame. Naruto expresses an interest in going after the Akatsuki members, but Jiraiya tells him he would stand no chance against them. We can learn a lot from their first encounter, and there was more to it than a simple confrontation. The Akatsuki were the main villainous group for the majority of Naruto Shippuden. Nagato's actual objective was to acquire the tailed beasts to harness their chakra in order to create a powerful kinjutsu, using it to wipe out one side in a conflict and frighten the other side and the world at large to stop the fighting. If and when the fears abated and conflicts renewed, the kinjutsu would be deployed again, creating small periods of peace in an endless chain of hatred. However, the plan to capture Tailed Beast was not the only thing this organization was doing. People fail to realize that the Akatsuki has been active since the Third Shinobi World War. That is when Yahiko died, which caused Nagato to turn into pain, and the Tailed Beast capture started roughly by the time of Part 1 of Naruto. The gap between the Third Shinobi World War and Part 1 of Naruto is almost a decade. During this time, the Akatsuki began recruiting S-rank missing nin, mostly through strong-arming them and promising protection to carry out their respective goals. They first acted like a mercenary group. This period of the organization proved to be very successful, as the hidden villages increasingly hired Akatsuki to fight in wars and perform assassinations that the villages themselves were unwilling to get involved in during those times of peace. The fourth Raikage claims that only Kumogakure never hired Akatsuki, while the third Tsuchikage in particular became a frequent employer. Despite being such a popular and successful group, the Akatsuki was largely a mystery to those outside the organization, with many incorrectly believing they operated out of Kirigakure. Surely people knew about the Akatsuki. They were extremely popular in the underground world among bounty hunters and other shady organizations, and Jiraiya definitely should have had sources about the Akatsuki since he was well educated in the underground world and knew how to get intel from them. However, not many people knew about their goals. Not even its members knew the full plan of Pain, even though they were part of the organization. But in Naruto chapter 143, Jiraiya literally drops all the necessary information about the Akatsuki. He knew their goals, how many and what kind of members it had, and basically tells Kakashi everything that a person should know about one of the most secretive organizations in the whole world. At first, it makes little sense for Jiraiya to know all of this, but when you think about it, it makes more sense than you might realize. Jiraiya most likely had an informant within the organization, and that informant was none other than Itachi Uchiha. And there are some hints from their interaction that suggest that. Firstly, the theory of Itachi and Jiraiya working together does not really make a lot of sense, since Jiraiya was extremely serious and determined to kill Itachi. His remarks on him suggest that he still viewed Itachi as an enemy of the Leaf who should be terminated. If this is the case, how could Itachi still be his informant? One of the biggest problems that spies deal with is providing information to the other side without getting exposed. Itachi knew that if he gave away too much information to the Hidden Leaf, Pain would be put on guard and Itachi would be the first to be suspected. After Orochimaru left the Akatsuki, Itachi was the only Leaf ninja left in the organization, of course, beside Tobi. After learning the true goal of the Akatsuki, he had to find a way to deliver this information to the Leaf without raising suspicions about him. I think the way he did that was hinted at in the previous chapter. Itachi used his abilities to put a woman in a genjutsu so she would go out with Jiraiya and distract him. Obviously, Itachi knew that Jiraiya would soon learn the truth and would come back, which could have been Itachi's plan all along. He did not actually want to capture Naruto, he just had to make it seem like he did so Kisame would not suspect a thing. Also, when Itachi finds Naruto and is confronted by Sasuke, he needlessly wastes Tsukuyomi on Sasuke and torments him for no reason other than to stall for time until Jiraiya shows up. Itachi could have easily allowed Kisame to deal with Sasuke and captured Naruto. Their mission would have been done. When Jiraiya shows up, Itachi tells him that Naruto is the prize that the Akatsuki are after, once again deliberately leaking intel that would confirm Jiraiya's investigations. Also, at this point, he's already used Tsukuyomi twice, giving him a plausible excuse for them to not fight Jiraiya and make a run for it. This does not answer how Jiraiya got information from Itachi, but from this interaction we learn that Itachi can control people very easily thanks to his genjutsu abilities. He could have used those same abilities on a woman to seduce one of Jiraiya's informants. This informant would tell Jiraiya everything he needed to know about the Akatsuki, and Jiraiya would not really question that information's authenticity since he had no reason to. Itachi later confirmed all of those investigations by himself anyway. He had to tell Jiraiya everything covertly so nobody else would know. Also, Itachi giving out information about the Akatsuki and helping the Leaf in the shadows without Jiraiya even knowing that it was Itachi who was giving him information also makes a lot of sense for his character. After all, he's been protecting the Leaf from the shadows almost all his adolescent life. Jiraiya getting information this way also makes much more sense than the Akatsuki just casually telling their goals to some random people who Jiraiya had as his informants underground. However, I think things changed after their first interaction in the series. I think after that incident, Itachi cut out the middleman and started giving out information directly to Jiraiya. A few days after their first interaction, Jiraiya somehow knew about the Akatsuki's plans and how they would not start searching for Naruto for the next 3 years. This is extremely sensitive information to get your hands on, and the person with such knowledge could not be outside of that organization. Also, things get more interesting when we jump into the deaths of these characters. First off, it is extremely interesting that once Itachi arranges his own death against Sasuke, we see that Jiraiya suddenly finds out that the Akatsuki is in the Rain Village. However, this is not the only thing that Jiraiya could have learned from Itachi before his death. He also most likely learned about Tobi being Madara from him as well. The only people who knew that Madara was still alive at that point in the series were Jiraiya, Itachi, Pain, and Konan. Even Kisame was fooled by Tobi's persona, even though Obito had revealed himself as Madara to him in the past. So Konan and Pain would definitely not be the spies against the Akatsuki. Itachi is left as the only logical candidate for that. You could argue that Itachi decided to tell everything that he knew about the Akatsuki to Jiraiya in his final days since he had nothing left to lose. But now, a final question arises. How was Itachi able to tell Jiraiya all of this, while in the past having had to do it covertly? Well, I think it could have something to do with Jiraiya sealing Itachi's Amaterasu. That was an extremely strange thing, since when it happened it seemed like a big deal, but in the end we got no development for that. Maybe Itachi left his Amaterasu on purpose, so Jiraiya would have Itachi's chakra, which would enable him to directly communicate with Jiraiya without alerting other people. All in all, I think this theory makes so much more sense than Jiraiya just knowing all of that about the Akatsuki from some random informant. Anyway, I guess this is all for today. This was an interesting concept, and I wish Masashi Kishimoto touched on it more. There are a lot of mysteries surrounding both of these characters, especially around Jiraiya. Even though he's one of the most important characters in the series, we know very little about his personal life and what he was doing off-screen. Anyway, what do you think? How did Jiraiya know so much about the Akatsuki? Let me know in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to this channel for more. Astrojack out. Bye.